All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Beautiful, beautiful morning. Thanks for coming out this morning on a nice day to talk about an exciting announcement, exciting development for the arts in our community, and an addition to the downtown parking ramp here where we're standing today. As you know, we've had this canvas, which we'll call undeveloped for several years. And we've been working as a city and a community to figure out how we could continue to elevate local art in our community, local artists, and use this blank canvas to highlight art and the importance of public art. And it wasn't long ago that a guy named Walter Portz, which many in our art community know, approached the city and said, hey, I got an idea for this ramp and I want to run it past you. And he wanted to see something done here. So we sat down with Walter and we talked about it, and Walter came up with several different designs that he thought could work on this ramp. And the nice thing about having Walter approach us was the fact that Walter had also been approached by the Levitt to work on an incredible mural that just finished up, 2 months ago maybe?
Yeah, it was actually Scott Risden.
Scott Risden, yep. Steel District. And it turned out incredible. And so when we were talking through this with Walter, we said, man, you got a demonstrable track record. We know you'll do a good job on this project. And so he came to us with this idea. And today we're happy to announce that we're going to be working with Walter and our good friends at the Washington Pavilion and a private donor in Matt Paulson in Market Beat to put what I believe will be the largest mural in the state of South Dakota on the side of this ramp. It's about 14,000 square feet in terms of a canvas. So I still, as I stand here, have no idea how this can get done. And that's what makes artists incredible at their craft, is they see something like this and get excited and look at the possibility. And so we're working with our partners at the Pavilion, who have been great partners with us in the arts on a lot of different fronts, who will be serving as the financial conduit to this. To help pay Walter and the expenses for this project, thanks to the donor that has also stepped up to help support this. So I want to talk a little bit about the importance of arts in our downtown. I think the last 10, 12 years, we have continually seen year after year more and more excitement around the arts. And I think if there's two things that have really been big catalysts the last few years, one would be what continues to happen with the sculpture walk and the excitement that generates every year. That's been just an incredible addition to the arts. But secondly will be what's happened with the Levitt and how the Levitt has really energized art in our downtown as well. And so we have people in the community that are continually looking at different ways to integrate art with our vibrant downtown community. And this mural is going to be one of those. So with that being said, I'd like to invite Walter to give a few remarks about the mural. Kind of the idea behind it, how it will get done, time frame, and why he's crazy enough to take this on. So, Walter, it's yours, buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Go big or go home, right?
That's right.
So I was asked to say a couple of other things too. So first of all, how we came to be at this spot. I want to talk a little bit about public-facing art, in particular murals, and my lifetime of enjoying them. In 1983, I was sanctioned by Principal Robinson at Oregon Trail Elementary School for creating a chalk mural on a wall of the gymnasium. And then in 1994, over at East 10th Street and Bonson, at the age of 18 years old, I was again choosing to do unsanctioned public art and got into some trouble, and I was like, I'm done creating public art. Years go by and things change, and we start to see a vision, and I start to develop as an artist, and here we are today. So a few weeks ago, 4 weeks ago-ish, I ran into Vernon Brown outside of Haskett's, and we have a business relationship that's gone on for years, and he was sitting with Sean from the city, and Vernon started talking about the Levitt mural. And, Sean was kind of just nodding his head at things. And I remember Sean from some skate park meetings. And I just said, hey, let's get something up on there. I have some ideas. Let's just go. It's been sitting there for years. And he said, well, let me talk to the mayor. Let me see, how things can go. It was maybe a week or so later, we started actually having the conversation. I brought forth maybe 8 to 10 ideas. we got a feel. They started talking with Matt, and we kind of worked through some different things and different ideas, and we came to this idea that we need something bright and accessible to everyone, accessible to children, people driving by. And so we came to a bright, colorful mural with a kind of very minimalist design to it. And part of what we came to was that we should incorporate some elements of Sioux Falls. So we incorporated, the cathedral, because you can see it from almost everywhere in town. It's up on the hill. It's iconic. Interestingly enough, one of the requests was that we include the clock tower, and that's actually where I got married 4 days after September 11th. So that place is weird and special in a lot of ways to me. And then I wanted to throw in some nods to Sioux Falls' embracing of public art in general. And in particular, Steve Thomas's piece, which used to sit just across the street on the corner there, Sea Dream. So in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see an homage to Sea Dream there. And Steve has been actually a very vocal supporter of what I was doing at the Levitt, and I'm excited to see what he thinks of all this after this announcement today. And then above that, you'll see I've recreated the actual 2 facades of the Levitt, just as a nod to what they're doing. Obviously, I was involved in InnoSkate last year, and that was such a successful event. And Nancy and Roseanne and the team over there are so great. And I've been to 6 or 7 events there this summer, and it's just really changing Sioux Falls. So I think that's an important component to this. And I think embracing artists and art and trying to reflect that as part of the community is an important part of the mural. So that's my motivation. That's kind of how we got there. And I hope you guys love it. Yeah, I'm a little terrified. But that's okay. That's part of the skateboarder in me. Like, let's just go for it. We can get it done. So with that, I'll give it back to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks, Walter. And speaking of artists in the community, if someone would want to put up a time lapse, it'd really be cool to get a time lapse video of this. So if there's some independent artist that wants to do a time lapse, I think that could end up being a cool video. We got some space for it right on the ramp across the street. I also just want to give a shout out and a thanks to our Visual Arts Commission, who Walter presented this to them at their meeting yesterday, as a matter of fact, and they loved it. 5-0 recommended that we move forward with this as well. So always appreciate having their recommendation when we move public art forward in our community. So wouldn't be happening though without private donors and private dollars, and that's really kind of the mantra of Sioux Falls. When there's a need or something needs to happen, someone will put their hand up and say, hey, I'd like to be a part of that. And an organization and an individual that's been doing that in our community for many years is Matt Paulson and his team at Market Beat. So Matt stepped up and said, I'd like to be a part of this project. And so I'd like to turn it over to Matt for a few remarks on their involvement with this. Matt?
Good morning, everyone. So 2 of Market Beat's priorities just in the community is, one is obviously supporting local art. We've done that in a variety of ways, and also making downtown a vibrant place. We've made contributions to entities that support local art, like we have a project in the works with the Washington Pavilion. We're also a major sponsor of the Levitt. We've given to projects like the Arc of Dreams, and then we also funded the Market Beat Holiday Plaza in partnership with DTSF. We also show local art in our office, and we'll do that in our new office as well. So when we kind of heard about the opportunity to put a big mural on the side of the parking ramp, we were really excited about it because it checks a lot of boxes for us, and it's just going to make this part of downtown a much more exciting place. Obviously the project took a little bit longer than we had hoped, but I think we've got the right team of people and the right organizations involved to get this done. So we're really excited that Walter's going to paint the mural. He is clearly the right person for the job. He's just did a fantastic job over at the Levitt, and he's going to do a fantastic job here. And of course, Walter's kind of everywhere. There's a story about him on Sioux Falls Live of Walter being everywhere, and he was big involved with the skate park, and I just couldn't think of a better person to tackle this project than Walter. So we're just super glad you're doing this. Market Beat likes to do things a little bit different as well. We like to do things that are first and the largest and whatever else, and it's cool to be part of what we think is going to be the largest mural in the state. So that's going to be fun. I think between Walter's commitment to the project, support from the city, support from the pavilion, our sponsorship, we're excited that the mural's probably, ideally going to get done this year. Sounds like it will get done this year. And, it'll beautify this part of downtown until it's ready for future development. So we're just super excited, glad it came together, and excited to see it come alive. So turn it over to Paul.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, buddy. All right, thanks, Matt. So the next steps are first we got to prime this whole big honking thing. So that will even help. It's going to be primed. I think, are we primed it gray or white?
Yeah, gray so that the colors cover better.
Okay, so it'll be primed to solid gray, and then Walter's going to get to work. So I assume people will be able to come, eat their lunch out here, watch this thing evolve as Walter's working out here, and the hope is that before the snow flies this year, this thing will be done and we'll have a beautiful new art asset in our community. So again, thank you to our partners at the Pavilion. Huge thanks to Walter, and an especially huge thanks to Matt and the team at Market Beat for really being the financial catalyst to make this all happen. So with that, certainly open up to any questions of myself, Walter, or Matt.
What is the total cost we're looking at here?
So the total cost for the project, Market Beat is making a contribution of $30,000. Just how the mechanics of that will work, they're making a gift to the Washington Pavilion, and then the Washington Pavilion is hiring Walter to paint this art. So it's really not run through the city, it's run through our partners at the Pavilion, and we're appreciative of their help and support in that.
What's the expected lifetime?
You know, it's going to be exterior grade paint. So obviously over the next 10 years it would fade a little bit. But I would imagine it would last as long as your house paint should, assuming we get it primed properly. And hopefully they figure out a development for this property, but long before that would be an issue. But typically I would say 10 years before you really start to see any fading. We've got some real bright colors. The bright orange on there would be the biggest concern, but it should fade kind of across the board, so it should be pretty even, and I don't think it'll be an issue. Oh, heavens yes. Heavens yes. This is, I mean, there are probably 30 murals this size in the United States. I don't know. I mean, I don't know of many that one artist has done. So yeah, it'll be the largest thing I ever do. The skate park is bigger, and that's bigger physically, but that's a much different project. So yeah, this will be the biggest piece of artwork.
Can you just read the question back to us?
Yeah, so the question is, the work will be done soon because you want to do it before the snow flies. So the Levitt project took me 4 days to paint. It's a quarter this size, roughly. So I'm actually imagining 3 to 4 weeks once it's primed. So as soon as we can get it primed, I'm here and I'm ready to go. And it's a big, a lot of big blocky colors, so I can paint those in mass, and then the details even the small details are very large, so it should go pretty quickly. And yeah, I mean, I would expect 3 to 4 weeks from start to finish.
Question for you there. So moving forward with painting a mural up here, I mean, can you take that to mean that maybe there isn't a buyer ready and waiting, or what's next for this property from the city standpoint? It's been on sale for several months now.
Yeah, so obviously the end goal is to have a development on this property, but that will happen when the market is ready for it to happen. And interest rates, inflation, the development climate is different than it was even a couple years ago. And so by no way is putting a mural on this an indicator that we're giving up on this property. It's actually the opposite. I think it's going to make it even more attractive and marketable. But I will say we can only do so much to force the market. So it's open, it's on the market. Developers are talking to us. We're having a lot of great conversations. And I fully expect that before this thing fades and it's no longer, you can no longer make out what it is, we will have an incredible development on this property. Oh, thanks.
When would you expect to start priming?
We're working on the logistics now. We're having a separate company do the priming of it. I actually hope that that's done by the end of next week. So we're talking mid to late September, hopefully, that we would have a substantial amount of this mural done.
Walter, do you know how much paint it'll take?
My initial estimates, I haven't broke it down exactly, but between 15 and 18 5-gallon buckets of paint. The Levitt mural took 6 5-gallon buckets, but I ended up with a lot of extra paint and a couple of colors. So, it's just a matter of what I'm going to do is I have the image actually broken down into all the separate colors. I'm going to kind of mush those together in Photoshop so I can kind of get rough square footage of each color, and then from there I can kind of judge that. The orange will need possibly even 3 coats on it because oranges and reds do not cover well, and same with the dark blue. So, you know, we'll see how that goes, but yeah, that's assuming 2 coats on everything, as I was thinking 15 to 18 5-gallon buckets. Yeah.
It's basically a huge grid. It's already marked out for you. Is that helpful?
Yeah, so what I actually did is I took high resolution photos of the wall, and in Photoshop I've created each one of these sections as a part of a grid, and then I'm breaking down the individual bricks and lines as well, so that if I need to reference something. But when you look at the scale of this, you know, like these parts look so small, but really they're, you know, half of one of these is only this big on the design here. So, you know, I just go, okay, this goes to this brick, and I paint that section, and then come back and mask and clean up the edges and that sort of thing. So.
How tall is it?
The lift, I think, is going to be a 65-foot lift. I think the kind of pillars up there are, I don't have an exact measurement, but I think they're about 72 feet off the ground.
Yep.
Is that about right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're considering it's one of the first things people see when they drive into downtown Sioux Falls from all kinds of places. Knowing the history of this facility and just the scale of what people see right now, I mean, how important, can you put into words how important and what this means to have something there to change it?
Well, when you go to large urban markets, you see large murals like this. But you also, when they don't have a mural, you just see a big blank wall. And so right now, people just see a big blank wall. Now it's going to be something that's going to be transformed into one of the most Instagrammable sites in our community. So I think we're making lemonade out of a tough situation right now that will hopefully, like I said, turn into a beautiful development someday. But it's a gateway to our downtown, and I think it's going to turn a lot of heads, and a lot of people are going to say, wow, that's incredible. And that's why we're excited to partner with a guy that we know has a track record of getting work like this done, and we'll do it the right way.
And of course, across the river is going to be the Riverline District. How important is it in the scope of connecting kind of Phillips Avenue and the main heartbeat of downtown to kind of extending the downtown and having this part of it?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing with arts in our community is they're pushing out of just the core on Phillips and Main, whether that's extension of Sculpture Walk, whether that's murals that are moving out. Downtown itself is simply jumping the river as well and moving east, so this is a logical extension of that too. So my hope is someday that the Sculpture Walk also extends across the river to the Riverline District along the bike trail and kind of ties it all together. So big dreams for public art, but I think this community can do it.
Mayor, obviously this didn't start under your administration. You had to continue it. This is not done, but it's a phase that's done. What's it like to have this sort of behind you?
Yeah, it's the question is just about the chapters we're in. This has been an interesting project. You know, this ramp has been an interesting project. When I started as the city, as your mayor in the city, this project was underway. We finished it. I'm not going to rehash all the factors that got us to this point, but the bottom line is, we have, in my opinion, we're standing on the most developable, appealable property in this entire community, with 400 parking spots and the ability to go up multiple floors in the heart of one of the most vibrant downtowns in the upper Midwest. It's very, very attractive. So this makes it more marketable, allows us to show off the property even more. Having Walter's handiwork on the side is going to make it even more attractive. And so I'm really excited to be at this phase, because this to me is the last step before we announce a development on this property at some point. Yep.
This isn't there's been talk about putting a mural here for a few years. There was an RFP a while back, and how did that process kind of close and get to the point where you're able to kind of pick an artist, and what sort of changed in between that initial RFP?
Well, I mean, art is very subjective, and there will be people who will see this, and I showed it to someone yesterday, said, oh, that's ugly. And I said, well, art is subjective, and I think it's incredible. And so we're at this point because I don't think anybody can look at this piece and say, that's controversial, and we should not be putting something like that on a city building. It's not. It's awesome. It's perfect. There's an homage to arts past, present, future. There's an homage to some of our big historical landmarks in the community. So to me, this is the perfect type of art. And honestly, I think Walter, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he realized that. He knew what this canvas needed, right? If you want to make a statement piece, this probably isn't that. Because Walter does some edgy stuff, okay? And he brought us some edgy stuff. And we're like, Walter, this ain't the canvas for edgy stuff, brother. This is the canvas that has to be universally accepted. So the guy from Puckwana coming from McDonald's looks at that and says, oh, that's cool. Instead of saying, what are they doing in Sioux Falls? So, any other questions? All right, thanks for coming out today. And again, thanks to our partners in this. We look forward to getting started. Have a great day, everybody.